This week on The Big Room.
There's the other shoe has to drop of them emailing one another. I'm like, there's so many shoes in the air in this movie.
It's kind of a ride.
I feel like I kept looking at you, and I feel like you were liking it. You were laughing.
I was locked in. It's good.
I was like, it's happening.
Once he realizes who she is, I was constantly just like, okay, when's it going to happen? Is he going to drop a hint? How's he going to say it? Is she going to find it like for the rest of the movie?
Welcome back to the worst podcast in the world. I'm your host, Joe Rogan, and we watched another movie. We
did.
It's rom-com month. It's actually, as we're recording this, it's real life Valentine's Day.
Aw, happy Valentine's Day in the past.
We didn't do anything.
No, we didn't. We're here. My Valentine's Day is
tomorrow.
Recording a podcast.
Well, your Valentine's Day is also tomorrow, where I'm taking you to the Daytona International Speedway.
Being married to you every day is Valentine's Day.
Dum, da-dum, dum, dum, dum. No, we're going to go watch NASCAR tomorrow.
We are going to go watch NASCAR.
We watched one of your favorite movies.
Yes.
Nick sent me a post on Instagram. You're sitting right next to me. Why'd you do that?
I sent it for Carl, who's also in the group.
As we're recording a show. Got it.
We were not recording when I sent it.
Got it. We watched You've Got Mail, which is a rom-com.
You've Got Mail. It is a rom-com.
Came out on December 18th, 1998. I was 3 years old.
Wow.
It was about to be my third Christmas. Fourth? Because I had one when I was 0.
Right. Fourth
Christmas.
Well, that's lost on you, though.
Well, it's all lost on me. I mean, the one in 1998 was probably lost on me, too.
Yeah.
This is based on, once again, this is our second movie in a row that's based on a movie from the 40s. This one is based on a movie called The Shop Around the Corner, which in and of itself is based on a Hungarian play, I think.
Yes.
And the title's in Hungarian, so
I don't know what it is.
Man, rom-coms are derivative, huh?
They are.
This is also the third. This is the third movie starring the pairing of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan after 1990's Joe versus the Volcano, which I've never heard of in my life, and 1993's Sleepless in Seattle, which everybody has heard of in their life. And the last fact I have myself after researching this movie for 30 seconds before we went live is that the movie's website, the original movie's website, remained live until May 10th, 2018. Which is a long time to have a website.
20 years.
Yeah.
Where you could read all of the original emails.
Oh, really? They were all in there.
Oh, okay.
I also read it was like kind of like it was getting dunked on for being very 1990s internet, but it was built in 1990s internet. That's
what do you want?
People are stupid. It's like the Space Jam website.
Is that a thing still?
I don't think still, because it was probably all built with Flash, and Flash is dead.
Right.
So, Nerd Corner, nerds.
Corner.
So, we watched this last night, 2 nights ago?
Last night.
Wow.
Same.
I was playing Helldivers 2 afterwards, and that's my
I had to watch The Bachelor afterwards.
Pushed this movie right out. So, you like this movie?
I love this movie.
Why?
Well, so I literally have a note that after watching this so closely to Ever After, throw Ever After away.
Whoa.
This is
Done.
Her favorite movie.
well, this doesn't have Drew Barrymore in it, which is a W. Furthermore, this was not in her running for favorite movie because we knew we were doing
because I already knew. This is what we would have watched. This is what we would have watched if this wasn't a thing. Which I guess we could have done that anyway, and then watched another rom-com. But my brain doesn't work sometimes. So, no, I don't know. This movie, it's just so, I just think it's so charming. It's cozy. I love the characters.
It is really cozy.
Like, the soundtrack, the swells.
Soundtrack's awesomely 90s.
I cry every time.
Yes.
I cried last night.
It's a little Christmassy, too.
It is.
You get a little bit of that in there.
I always watch it in the fall because the beginning, it's like, don't you just love New York in the fall? And he wants to send her sharpened pencils.
Which I didn't get. A bouquet of sharpened pencils. I'm like,
it seemed like a reference to an earlier conversation they had that we didn't get told about or something. But yeah, the only connection I saw was I want to buy school supplies thing. So I was like, okay, that's a leap, but all right.
It's back to school season and fall.
The crappy CGI New York at the beginning was cracking me up.
Oh my God.
Because what puzzled me there is I'm like, this is 3 years after Toy Story. We knew how to do CGI.
Whole cities.
Already. We had a Bug City.
I was too busy laughing at the
Toy Story
internet
2
connection
came out this
sounds
year.
at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. The dial up, just dialing. Remember, internet used
So
to
good.
dial up,
Up,
Man,
not down.
not down. Why don't we go
why
down?
don't we go down?
Harmontown reference for
The intro
everything.
reminded me of like a low poly Silicon Valley intro, where they kind of build the city up.
I haven't seen Silicon. Oh yeah.
3D kind of render is just like way flatter.
God, I just closed my notes. How?
I also
will
think this
move
movie
on?
has a lot of good like one-liners and lines.
Oh, it's a clever,
many good
clever
one-liners.
script.
It's so good.
It's a clever script.
This is like what I imagine every rom-com to be.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's got that '90s almost Barney kind of feel.
Will they? Won't they? When are they going to figure out?
Yeah,
But at the same time, within 10, 15 minutes, I wrote down, bro, is this Two People Have Digital Affairs, the movie? Yes. Yes, it is that.
it is.
It is that.
It is.
So immediately you're like, bad people. Kinda.
So
Isn't it
Yeah,
fair if you
kinda.
don't see them?
Yes,
it's
dude.
kind of it's an emotional.
And that's a conversation from within the movie, and they use that conversation to totally enable it.
yeah.
They just go to
It's
bat
just
for
a friend.
Yeah.
She specifically said that they weren't. What was the phrase they used? They weren't doing cyber sex.
No cyber
Yeah,
sex.
which
Cyber
cyber
sex.
sex
It's
is
just
the,
it's just a friendship.
is cyber sex the worst word of all time? Like slurs aside, cyber sex.
Slurs. Yeah.
Gross.
So I've come to the realization that I think all rom-coms are full of bad people. That doesn't make me love them any less, but
No.
in order to get the calm, like that's how they do it. Is like there's got to be some sort of flaw or character thing that causes the
Yeah.
hijinks.
Well,
And in order to have the hijinks, like
unless your center plot point is an illness, like the perfect rom-com, The Big Sick, where there's no
Yes.
bad people in it at all.
God, Kumail's
It's a
great.
good movie.
are there no bad people in it? I mean,
His family sucks.
they have to learn a lesson.
It's a different culture though.
Yeah.
They start out one way and grow and learn and
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Kumail he blurs some lines. She's broken up with him, and yet he's still like with her family and
I
doing all
wouldn't-
the things.
Yeah, well,
so.
he cared about her.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not-
wasn't a.
And she woke
I'm
up
not saying
pissed.
he's a
Yeah.
bad person.
Opening
I'm
of
just
her
saying.
phone was kind of iffy, but that was also wasn't that to make a call to her mom
well,
or something?
she looked in
You
his
know.
cigar box too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
So
And she got
She earned
mad,
it.
and
He was
he didn't-
hiding things in there, so
he
she
didn't-
was
we-
kind of
You
right.
know what we've already done? Talked about all this in a previous episode. If you want to
You
hear
should go
more about the
listen
Big Sick, go back
link in the
to
description.
whatever episode that was. I'm not putting it in the description. There's no way I'm going to remember to do that. Chappelle's in this,
Chappelle.
Yeah,
which is
I thought it was
wild.
kind of weird to not have him be more comedic. He's kind
Right.
of the straight man.
He just
yeah,
plays
it
a
seems
guy.
like an odd choice. Yeah,
So I read
happy to
that.
see him, but
Like
seemed underused.
it would have been. He didn't turn around when he describes the wrong person. He doesn't turn around and go, "Gotcha, bitch." He doesn't do anything Chappelle-ish. He's just kind of there.
That's
in
not the vibe.
He just
though.
plays a guy, which is cool that he
Yeah,
plays a guy. But
a
it
homie.
also, like seeing Chappelle,
like a little bit of a missed opportunity.
seeing Chappelle in a post. Now that Chappelle is an old man that just makes fun of trans people for no reason and calls it comedy, I was a little bit like, Chappelle's in this. Oh, he's washed, and now he's a bigot. Sucks.
I don't know much about Chappelle. Apparently,
A lot of Chappelle's we're too young.
yeah.
So he was apparently in this because he was originally cast as Bubba in Forrest Gump and turned it down.
What?
Good job, Chappelle.
And then, but he, I guess, wanted to work with Tom Hanks, or Tom Hanks wanted to work with him. So then when this came up, they
No,
put
I want
him
to
in
see
here.
Chappelle as Bubba.
No, that's that.
I
but,
wouldn't. Doesn't feel right.
no, because
Popcorn shrimp.
if you cast a comedian
It would
as
just seem
Bubba
like a
Gump,
bit, yeah.
it gets this whole other angle of
You're
he's
right.
making fun of mentally handicapped people.
You're right. You're right.
Whereas if you just have a guy do it, it's like, oh, bless his heart.
It's like,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's Bubba.
It's much less like Chappelle's taking the piss out of this guy right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, one of the lines in the movie is it infidelity over if it's just over email? And I'm like, yes? Yes? Hello?
Listen,
So that would be under emotional affairs, I think.
She didn't even love that
All right,
dude.
now
They
we're
were
now
with
we're
the
making
wrong
excuses.
people.
didn't love her.
Now we're making excuses.
Did you see
It
how
was
relieved they
amicable.
were when they broke up?
Yeah.
Yes, but that is convenient. It doesn't make the earlier crimes. It's like if you just randomly pulled out a gun in traffic and murdered a guy and he happened to have like child porn on his phone. Like, you're not a hero. You're still a murderer for no reason.
Just lucky, yeah.
Yeah.
They knew though.
No,
They knew.
no.
They
Okay,
knew that
let's
it was
not.
They both knew.
Let's not go to bat for infidelity. Hello, are we stupid? God, you unmarried,
You have to-
you unmarried swine. You don't
Is it showing?
understand.
You
Is
have
it
to
showing?
justify it a little bit in order to like the movie, though, don't you?
I think that's a flaw of the movie. I think it's bad people. It works out for bad people. The movie.
I also think rom-coms, like, while they're set in the real world, they don't play by the real world.
Oh,
They're
yeah, it's
fantasies.
fantastical.
They're fantasies.
No,
so,
I don't think that this is a bad movie, but it does
bad people?
advocate
Yeah.
for what is objectively poor behavior.
Yeah.
Because yes, they're having affairs.
Yeah.
It's the worst. If I was out texting broads, would
Oh,
you
I'd
be
be
thrilled with that?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
there you
even
go.
like it when you talk to broads, like, at work.
When you talk to broads.
When you talk to broads at work. Oh boy.
Or like this one time a lady came up to Cameron and like touched him in a bar and I was like, I'm gonna murder her. And turns out she was married to like the guy right next to her.
Yeah, it was.
But she was like touching Cameron and I was just like, who is this bitch?
Which, by the way, I still don't know her name. I know who she's married to, and it's a person we all know, so we won't talk about it on
talk
the
about it.
show. Because wow, remind me to tell
Well,
you later.
once he told me, I was like, oh, okay, we're good.
I also grabbed her phone because she just put her phone on the bar and left, and I was like, I guess I'll grab that
wow.
so that someone else doesn't. And then she got back, and it was the worst. I hate being in situations like that. I don't go to bar. Remember when that like 50-year-old lady hit on me?
yeah,
Because I was looking at Dan.
that was fine.
I was about to bring that up.
And then she was like, I don't remember what she said.
You were twirling your hair.
I was twirling my hair, and she said, I just thought
Oh,
that was
that's hot.
really hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I think I walked away. I was like, I didn't like it. It's in the way that you use it. And I just turned and went somewhere else in the bar. I had a bad time. I didn't like it. Well, it always is me too in the
Yeah.
bars. I'm always the one in the awkward. Like when what's that? Baby Brad Pitt, that guy that never tips and gets kicked out of all the bars downtown, and he's called Baby Brad Pitt for some reason.
Baby Brad.
He walked into the bar, grabbed me. I'm in a circle with Dan, his ex-wife, and you, and someone else. I think it might have you might have been there. Who knows?
Somebody.
And he pulls me out of the group and goes, "Hey, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes,
Do you know him?
I'm sorry, because he thought no, I'd never seen this guy before. He's never seen me before. He was drunk and high and confused.
Classic.
And he thought
Classic
that
Ocala.
he thought that he had insulted my shirt. I was probably in a Schraub shirt that said Schraub Home Video or something. He thought he had insulted my shirt and was apologizing to me. And I was like, it's all good, man. And then he started monologuing about how he makes his own clothes and plays the bass guitar for the devil.
And you were
For the dead.
insulting someone else's shirt when you make your own.
Yeah, and and he didn't. He never said anything to me. And then he asked for my Instagram, and I was like, "Why don't you give me yours?"
What?
And I like
sorry.
watched as I looked him up, clicked on his page, and went, "I'll hit you up." And then he walked left out of the bar, and we also needed to go left, but we went right and made a big square because didn't like it.
Wow.
And then I turned to my friends and wife and was like, "Screw you guys! You brought me to the wolves. This is my
You know the weirdest
nightmare. This is why I don't leave
Remember
my
when
house."
Bryce said goodbye just to you?
Yes,
Like,
I think about that all the time.
yeah, you
It's
have the
me and
weirdest
you,
interactions.
and I think David and this jacked guy that we used
Yeah.
to work with
Some
at
Christmas
our work
party or
Christmas
something.
party goes, "Bye, Cam."
yeah,
he had never
we're
talked to me in
sitting
my
right
life.
Next to you, like he didn't say anything to us.
Said bye to just me.
So weird.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's the weirdest thing. That has nothing to do with this movie. There's a typewriter scene I want to talk about. Because what's the character's name?
Frank.
The shop girl.
Frank.
Kathleen
Oh.
is at home. Yeah. No, Kathleen's at home, and her boyfriend.
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 Not husband.
Boyfriend he's a journalist. he's got a typewriter, and he
has
like fawning over this typewriter.
Three?
And
Oh, wow.
she's like, "Oh, doesn't this sound familiar?" And she pulls the cover off the other end of the dining room table. It's the same typewriter. And she goes, "And you have one at work." And he's like, "I needed backups." And I found that really interesting because knowing that Tom Hanks is a huge fan, collector, and advocate for typewriters.
Oh,
wow.
He's a big typewriter guy. There's a documentary on, I think, Prime, and I don't remember what it's called, where he is one of the guys and they're interviewing, just talking about typewriters. John Mayer's in it because he wrote a lot of Continuum, one of his albums, on the typewriter. Like, he writes a lot of his lyrics on the typewriter because he doesn't like having the technology around or whatever, but he doesn't want to write because his handwriting sucks, so he just writes on a typewriter.
Interesting.
And a lot of it was about this typewriter shop in LA that's closing down because they don't have any clientele, and then they modernized and went online. It's a great documentary.
seems like something Cameron would watch.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
100%.
One of them was this and it was all juxtaposed by this other guy who makes art, like statuette art out of typewriter pieces. So he buys old dead typewriters and deconstructs them and uses the arms to make like teeth and jaws for skeleton heads and all kinds of groovy stuff.
Oh, nifty.
Very erotic, even like sculptures of like
dang.
butts and stuff with typewriter parts.
Butts and nuts.
Oh,
Nick, what's your mother going to say?
One of the other things I wrote
tell
down, I want to talk about Starbucks. I want to talk about Starbucks in this movie.
Starbucks is a place for people who can't make decisions to go and make 6 decisions about just a cup of coffee.
Yep.
Very true. So I was talking about how, because this is 1998, as we mentioned before, it's when this movie came out. I didn't really have knowledge that Starbucks existed until I was probably 15 or 16 years old.
What?
So we're talking,
Wait,
2012? That's 17. How old are we? Yeah, I was 17 in 2012. So 2010, 2011. And I think it's just because Ocala is small and we didn't get a Starbucks for a while. Or if we did, I think
was
we had
shocked.
one in the mall, but I never went to the freaking mall.
I was shocked when you
Nobody
said that,
drank
but I
coffee
think it's the
growing
same
up.
for me.
Like we were doing energy drinks and stuff like that in high school. It wasn't coffee.
Monsters and
our
Rockstars
tastes weren't that refined like
Rockstar.
they are now.
You know, the kids have their mocha choca chaka laka drinks, and we were like, which color
Their
monster's
nitro
your
cold
favorite?
brews.
We had one
Their
at
matcha
Starbucks in
lattes.
our hospital, and that was it.
ooh.
So we would often go to the hospital lobby and get a
Starbucks.
That's groovy.
And it was like a 30-minute drive.
Pick me up.
30 minutes for Starbucks.
Yeah,
That's
it's in the
not-
city
God.
over.
That's not worth
Commitment.
it. You had to drive over the DuPont poisoned river to get
That's
to your
right.
West
Over the bridge.
Virginia. Groovy.
ma.
So yeah, Starbucks is weird. Also, very funny to me that she's a big Starbucks fan as a small business owner who's anti-corporate takeover. And she goes to Starbucks in New York City
Every day.
where there's she probably has to literally step over, well, not literally unless she's 18 feet tall, but step over 957 coffee bodegas on her way to the Starbucks that she should have just been drinking at instead.
Maybe-
So she's
And then she slams them for having fancy coffee in the bookstore
Right.
too. So yeah.
garbage. She's not consistent. Have a consistent opinion.
What
She's
was
a woman. We can have whatever opinions we want. We don't have to be consistent.
All right. I'm
Was
not going to
Starbucks-
touch that with a 10-foot pole. Go ahead, Nick.
was
say
Starbucks?
so.
When did Starbucks start?
She's a woman, so she has rights. I don't know. Probably
Like,
in the
was it what we know Starbucks to be
40s or
today?
something.
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Why is he Googling
Welcome back to
Starbucks?
our podcast called Talk About It Now, Look It Up Later. 1971.
Oh, it was around.
Oh,
Yeah.
It had been around.
It
long
wasn't
longer.
the 60s.
I was just thinking, what if
the
it was the only
90s.
Starbucks in New York? You know, maybe
I doubt it.
maybe it wasn't a big corporate.
There's two places Starbucks would have gotten big before anywhere else.
California?
Seattle, where
Oh,
it was
Seattle.
founded,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
New York City. And maybe like LA or something. I don't know.
You're right.
Chicago.
My kind of town.
Chicago is.
So blah, 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 blah. The kids, weird. I thought that they were doing a bit
No.
when he said that the girl was his aunt
Nope.
and the other
His dad
kid was
just-
his brother, and then I wrote his dad and grandpa are virile. They
And his
are.
dad looked like Dr. Phil, and the other guy looked like the Six Flags guy. I was like, am I about to do the org challenge over here?
I was trying to figure out where I knew his grandpa from. He looked really familiar.
I didn't
Maybe
know
it
the
was just
grandpa.
a Six
Did
Flags.
you figure it out?
No.
You know what I
I
did?
couldn't be bothered to look it up.
You know the old person that I did recognize is the old lady from the bookstore.
Who was
She
that?
looked familiar.
Birdie.
The red-haired lady?
Yeah, with the glasses.
She's Edith in All in the Family.
Oh my God.
We have a record of it.
I have a record of it. Trying to show the
that's
camera, but
cool.
I have to work backwards. So yeah,
It's
she's
this old lady in the blue.
She's the old lady in the blue in All in the
Wow.
Family. She sings the theme
Wow.
song. Those were the days. That's a good it's a Norman Lear sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
Same guy that did Sanford and Son and Jeffersons and all that stuff. So yeah,
Yes, makes sense.
Nice.
there you go. It's a good. Yeah, I have a record for it. So yeah, that's what I know her from. She's Edith in All in the Family, and it was cracking me up. And then she plays the piano in a later scene. Danielle's like, "Does she really play the piano?" I'm like, "She does in the title sequence for All in the Family." So
She's got a.
as far as I know, plus everybody back then in the 40s when she grew up played piano.
They probably
and knew how
played
to
piano.
It's true.
Yeah.
churned
And
butter.
probably gave really good advice.
Terrified of the microwave.
I also Wait, what?
I don't know. Maybe they thought it would irradiate them or something.
Right. I had a similar moment
Whiskey
with
all over my microphone.
the guy that worked at
Gross.
her bookstore.
Yeah. I don't remember his name. but
Dave
I know you mean.
Chappelle.
Nope.
Oh, the guy. Yeah.
What was his name?
I don't. Oh, wait. Hang on. Welcome.
Doesn't
back
matter.
To our podcast.
I didn't know where I knew him from. I looked it up. It was Daddy Daycare.
I said that last night, but
Oh.
I don't think Cameron's seen it.
Steve Zahn, right? His
I
name is
couldn't-
George.
Sure.
George.
George.
I
George
couldn't have told you his
Papas.
real name.
He reminded me of that guy who's like, cut it out from Full House.
Cut it?
Mixed
Uncle
with
Joey.
Oh, Uncle
John Stamos's
Joey.
hair.
Not Uncle Joey. 'Cause
Uncle Joey has cut it out.
Uncle Jesse is the cool.
Oh,
one.
thank you.
Yeah.
Uncle
Well,
Joey.
you know
Do
what?
not question
You know
my
what?
Full House
No,
knowledge.
no. Screw them for having those dudes' names so similar. Joey and Jesse. Nope. You got to make
Wow.
one of them Ken or something. Also,
He's just
Full House.
Ken.
Boring.
Good show.
Full House is boring. I didn't
Good
like it.
show.
I hated it.
So wholesome.
boring,
That's
boring,
wholesome.
boring, boring.
They learned
How's
life
it boring?
lessons.
Michelle Tanner falls off a horse and forgets who she is.
But it's not as good as if she had fallen off a horse and died. Like in
That would have
No.
been sad.
Not Gone with the Wind.
You know what I was busy watching? You know what I was watching as a kid instead of Full House?
And sports.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh.
A good movie.
Well, no.
Best movie
I hate you
of
can't
all
do that. No one's
time.
going to disagree with that.
Best movie ever. Better than Full House.
No one's going to disagree. That's not an argument.
Hey, I'm looking at Burt Reynolds. You can have your Yoplait
John
yogurt.
Stamos?
your-
John Stamos is hot.
He's a yogurt vendor.
Okay,
A
now.
yogurt.
He shills for yogurt.
So
I
do
don't
like
know
a lot
about
of
current day.
celebrities.
The Oikos shitty Greek yogurt. Feels like you're eating blood clots. It's
He's
the worst.
Greek.
What?
He's a Greek, right?
Yeah, but he's a
He's a
Greek.
Greek.
He's a
Wow.
Greek, right? He's a Jew, right? Like
No.
that's the energy you're coming up with.
No.
Come on.
Oh,
But if
boy.
you're gonna have
This is
someone
the arguments tonight.
sell Greek yogurt, I mean a Greek person.
I mean,
Why
it makes
don't you-
sense to me.
Anyways.
Why
What
don't
would
you
you-
briefly
Okay.
give us the rundown of their relationship up to the coffee house scene
Like,
where he's meeting her in person?
oh, okay.
So what's the movie about?
yeah. So, well, I feel like we're going back
What
to
did
like
you
the
drop?
beginning now.
Nothing.
His phone.
Go ahead. Was it your phone?
I didn't drop anything. I just spilled a little of my drink on me.
The clapping.
Way to go.
That's great.
Alrighty. So we have Kathleen. She owns a small bookstore that was left to her by her mother, who has passed away, who everyone says was enchanting. Ignore that. It's fine.
We're falling apart.
So she has an enchanting bookstore. Meanwhile, we have Joe Fox on the other side.
FOX.
FOX. He is basically Barnes and Nobles.
Yep.
Which that location in New York actually is a Barnes and Nobles.
Of
Fun
course,
fact.
dude. You look at the interior of that
It's
and you go,
huge.
this
Yeah,
is
this
not a
is
set.
Just the Barnes and Nobles.
What's that mean?
So he is bringing his new big chain discount store into the West Village, and it's a tragedy. He's gonna put her out of business. Meanwhile, they unknowingly are falling in love via email messaging. You've got mail.
Yeah, so they're emailing each other back and forth on AOL. And then later on, they break out AIM, which was crazy. And we're too young for AIM. We missed
I-
the boat.
Nah.
I remember AIM.
Yeah.
We are too young for AIM.
I also, even if like I was a couple years older, I still wouldn't have been allowed to be on AIM.
Facebook was
My
our
parents
AIM.
would have been like, "That's the internet and it's dangerous."
Yeah, we got
Not MySpace.
We got
No
too young for
MySpace.
MySpace.
Wow.
We weren't allowed. I wasn't allowed to be on
That
MySpace.
cutoff is like it's literally the age difference between y'all and us. Like it's only a
Yeah.
couple years, but we were Facebook kids. We
So
were
Carl,
Facebook kids.
12 or 13 when we were.
Dude,
on
I
Facebook.
never could understand the code part of MySpace where they're like, you just paste it in. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. How
That-
does it not display? And now, like, flash forward, and I'm the site manager.
that is my
So
origin
crazy.
story. MySpace
Yeah.
layouts for crappy local bands.
Yeah. Man,
Sorry, Chase.
look how far we've come.
Go ahead.
So, anyways, then we have a couple meetings where Joe and Kathleen meet. He accidentally makes his way into her store, but doesn't say who he is.
He knows, like they know each other as he's got the big bad bookstore that's squashing all the other bookstores, and she's the last small bookstore on the block, or as far as we know, the world.
So he unknowingly gives her some advice on how to like fight back, for
Against
her
him.
business against
Yeah,
himself.
the email version of him gives the real version of her. Like they have two different relationships at the same time, which
Yes.
is really interesting because they hate each other in person. They love each other on the internet. And they know each other in these two different ways, which is really interesting because well, I'll talk about it more later.
So then they decide to meet, right?
Yep.
So she gets to the coffee shop. She has her copy of Pride and Prejudice and her rose on her table. Dave Chappelle and Joe, Tom Hanks, show up, and then
Dave Chappelle doesn't get a character.
I can't remember the character's name.
Yeah.
So, but Mr. Chappelle is looking through the window because Joe's like, look at her, like, check her out, let me know how it is. And I just love this whole scene where he's like, she's beautiful, but if you, she kind of looks like Kathleen Kelly. And he's like, why are we talking about Kathleen Kelly? And he's like, well, if you don't like Kathleen Kelly, you ain't gonna like this girl. Because it is Kathleen Kelly.
Which I feel like Dave Chappelle should have said, you ain't gonna like this bitch.
No, you can't say bitch in a rock.
Also, his name in the movie is Kevin Jackson.
What?
What?
Wow.
I
Which-
couldn't have told you that.
That's a white person trying to give a black guy a name without making it a black guy name. That's a little rough.
Jackson.
Kevin Jackson.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Why was he there? He was just walking his boy
walking
to
his
his
boy.
date,
Yeah.
and then was just gonna leave.
Moral
Well,
support.
they were at work together. Maybe it was past.
All right, that's
each-
fair.
Hey, Elfie, shut up. The dog wants input. Well, the one dog has the ball, and the other dog wants it. It's noise.
Story of our
It's noisy.
life.
One day we'll have dog cam, maybe. We'll pay some nerd to hold a camera on him. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at.
So, but he originally decides, once he knows it's Kathleen,
She
he
can
makes
just sit there. He's like, she can sit there all night.
He makes his friend think he's just going to walk away and not go to her. But then after he walks away, he goes back. He goes in, and Kathleen has no idea that maybe this could be the guy. She just instantly is like, why are you here?
And
Get away.
Yeah, they've set up, they've established that they have run into one another many times at this point. So it's not that serendipitous. It's like, oh, this keeps happening. Will you leave me alone?
Leave me alone. And I just love that, like, he sits down at the table with her, and she's like, please go, please just go. And he gets up his coffee, and then goes to the table right behind
Right
her.
behind.
And he's just
Literally
kinda
back to
So then
back.
they keep
just
talking.
messing with her. Keeps talking. And then she finally, like, I relate to this a lot because her as a character, she talks about how in the moment she can never say what she wants to say. She can never think of her like zinger and get it out. And I have trouble with that. I
And
just
she zings it.
cry. But in this moment in the cafe, she zings him.
Hard.
She
Like he
hurts
gets
him.
offended.
She calls him like a heartless, she calls him heartless. He doesn't care. He just cares about profits and money. And yeah, she hurts his feelings.
And he leaves. He goes,
leaves.
have a good night. And just
Yep.
bones out. And then you
Human
feel
after
bad
all.
for Tom Hanks.
You do.
But he's the villain in the story, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting.
His job is the
little
villain.
thing. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
His legacy, his job, which that never gets resolved, by the way, which is kind of funny.
What?
That's kind of my biggest beef with
Oh,
with,
can't win in
with the
capitalism.
rom-com genre, is they always end with the beginning of
the
a
happily ever
yeah,
after.
yeah. Well, no, it's a beginning kind of thing. They're like, and they get together. End of the movie.
Yeah,
That's every time.
I definitely thought there was going to be movie after she found out. But that's literally the
that's
ending.
not what these are about, though.
No.
It's just like with The Big Sick again. The movie ends with what you know is going to happen the whole time. They end up together, or it's not a movie.
Yeah.
So it's really about the journey, not the destination. But it still is kind of like I get left with the feeling of, but I want to know what happens. But that's not the point. So it's kind of I have to keep myself in check with these movies.
But I will say he was smart, because if I were him, I would have immediately told her, "Hey, I'm the guy."
Yeah.
But he was like he knew that she was going to hate him, so he waited until he made her fall in love with him.
He kind of tests the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
Because how does he know? Remind me how he knows that she's her.
Because he sees her in the shop and she has the book
it's
and the flower.
it's the Dave Chappelle moment. It's
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy. Right.
Yeah. So from there we kind of hit the low point in the movie, like even like via email themselves, like she thinks he stood her up, you know, she's hurt his feelings, her shop is closing, which that scene always makes me cry when she's like closing the shop and all
Seeing
the books
her
are
younger
gone.
self.
Seeing herself with her mom, and she's like, it's like my mom has died all over again. It's like,
I do wonder if the
sad.
empty bookstore scene was filmed first, like before they. You know what I mean?
I read
Before
that
they-
it was some kind of like bakery that they
that
turned
makes
into
sense.
it. So
The shelving and stuff.
yeah.
We skipped a couple things. So one of the things that he teaches her, or the advice he gives her, that makes her want to fight back about him is what was it like?
to go to the mattress.
Go to the
Out of the
mattress.
mattresses.
Which is a Godfather thing. And then I was like, man, dude, men mansplaining the Godfather to women is evergreen.
Yes.
Like it always happens.
Yeah.
It'll happen forever. You're actually legitimately into the Godfather, which
I
is
liked
cool
it.
because it's a freaking masterpiece.
It is. So I get it, but you gotta also laugh.
It's
at
really
it.
funny.
That wasn't the first reference.
No?
At the beginning, when he first runs into her, he
The cocktail party, yeah.
God, what was the line? He quoted
With the horse head.
the horse head. The horse
Yeah,
head.
yeah, he goes to that whole thing.
Because the Godfather, Michael. Never mind.
Never mind.
I didn't know who you were with or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's when she does that, she essentially starts getting picketers and stuff to picket the pseudo Barnes and Noble, and she's doing all these interviews. And Tom Hanks and Dave Chappelle, whatever they're Kevin and whatever Joe Fox FOX, they're working out at the gym.
This is
it's
great.
really funny. And she's doing an interview, and they cut to him, and he's like kind of doing his part of the interview. And I forget what he says, but he basically like they cut his explanation really short.
I
Like
sell cheap books, so sue
So
me.
sue me.
yeah, I sell cheap books, so sue me. And he goes, he's like, that's not what I said. I was eloquent. Shit.
He said you could sit and read for hours and nobody would bother you. I called us the goddamn piazza. And then he's there and I was like, I was eloquent.
But the shit right after that.
Shit.
Yeah.
Hearing Tom Hanks swear is really good because when it's 1990s Tom Hanks, so he sounds exactly like Woody from Toy Story. So it's like you are a toy, but if he swore afterwards, it's the best. I could listen.
man.
I could listen to Tom Hanks read a phone book if phone books were still a thing. I just his voice.
When he said she's a pill and like really pushed that P out,
Yeah, and he
it
said
sounded
pill
so much to me
multiple
like
times.
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Like it really sounded like Bill Murray to me. I was like, oh my god.
plosives.
Yeah, and I was just like,
is
whoa.
is that where you got pill from? Because you say that all the time to the dogs, like you're being a pill. Is that from this movie?
Maybe
or?
it's just made its way.
I know
in
your
my
mom
psyche.
says it.
Subconsciously.
I feel like my parents say it, but maybe they say it because of this. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're like they're being a pill, and I'm like these dogs are a bunch of bastards.
She's beautiful. She's a pill.
She's a pill.
It's great.
I have a topic about computers. So they have laptops, early laptops. They're enormous. They are in 4:3 ratios, which is hilarious.
It was Meg Ryan's first ever laptop.
Really? Yep. So what's interesting to me is I was wondering, because in modern cinema, Apple has a rule about phones. If you are
This will ruin how you watch.
this will ruin.
Apple.
Yeah. Warning: if you like to watch movies with any mystery as to who the villain is, skip forward 1 minute. Apple has a rule where if you are a villain in a movie, you cannot have an iPhone because only good people have iPhones. So if you
That's
see
a
villains
real
in
thing.
movies, they all have like
Wow.
older,
Crappy
like,
Android.
Samsung Galaxy S7 Edges from 2015 whenever that phone came out, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this, like, you know what I mean? Good people cannot have, or bad people cannot have iPhones. To that point, in this movie,
Did they
Meg
do something?
Ryan has a Mac laptop, an early Apple laptop, and Tom Hanks has a Lenovo.
Huh.
And I was wondering if they did that for that reason of, well, he's a villain in loose quotes. He's not the hero, so he cannot have a MacBook. Or if it was like, we need 2 laptops, and that's what's on
what
the prop master could find. Like,
I read a thing that's not quite what you were saying, but similar, where like at the time, I guess PC like had eclipsed Mac and was known for like being the like businessy, like they
Lenovo's
were
still
very highly commercial.
ThinkPads are very commercial.
And Apple was more associated with the creative, the smaller business at the time. So I think there was some thought.
I feel like
to
that's still very true.
that.
Where
Yeah.
although Macs now are the like MacBooks, they're they are the workers thing, but the creative workers, they're the you work in a glass office with frosted glass window doors, and you know what I mean? Like you have one and whatever. Like you're designers, you both have MacBooks. And,
Yeah.
I
But-
work for the
Remote
government,
work opened it
so
up to like everyone working from home, laptops like Macs just became more accessible
Right.
too.
But-
It's easier to get.
like I worked in marketing at the company, we all had Lenovo's. We all had ThinkPads because they're the accountant's computer is a ThinkPad. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
the
I
nerd
never
work
thought about that.
is still ThinkPads.
That means that accountants are the villains
yes.
I mean they are.
and designers are the heroes.
You know what I read? I read
Preach.
something. I read something online.
Preach.
I read something online last week that said it's a damn shame that all of today's brightest minds go into finance. And I found that very poignant because it's not like if you think back on history, it's we were artists, we were poets, we were architects. We were inventing things. We were making light bulbs and penicillin out of mold, and we were X-raying our own hands. And now it's like, the stock market, and it's just we're a stupid people.
Dogecoin, baby.
We're the worst. I was telling my boss the other day, I'm like, we were not built to be sitting in chairs looking at rectangles all day and pretending any of this matters. We're supposed to like turn over
But we're
rocks.
so good at it.
Yeah, but we're supposed to like look at leaves and look at them and turn over rocks and go fascinating. And now we're just like, we're up 7%. Guess I won't kill myself today. Like it's the worst. We are the stupidest society on earth.
When you put it that
We're
way,
too smart for our own good.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. And this people who are supposed to be the smartest are the dumbest people on the planet. Oh God! If you are in a C-suite, you are stupid, and I believe that with my whole chest. Elevators are scary, but that's at the end. So let's. I mean, that's kind of the story. Like they're
kinda where
hanging
we're going
around.
next,
They get a little
know?
more. They turn into frenemies almost, because
Yeah.
he starts hanging around her or running into her more, and
Well,
He
so what
helps her out the
happens
grocery
is,
store that one time. and
can you fill us in?
He leaves his chick too.
yeah, I feel like that's the next
She leaves her
well, she
guy
was an
first.
Eagletonian.
point of the story. Oh my God, she is.
She's what's her name with the horses and
You're kidding
her
me.
dog. Yeah.
Oh my
No, I'm not
God,
kidding.
you're right.
Wow.
I can't remember her name.
I can't eat something St. Clair or something.
Yeah, something like that. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Pawnee, baby.
Yeah, so I mean, after we kind of hit our low point in the story where the shop closes, she has to close the business. We kind of get to Frank and Kathleen.
Oh, she winds up in his store.
Yeah,
is
he
that kind of the
sees her.
turnaround point?
Yeah, I think that kind of then softens his heart back towards her because he sees her in the store and she's talking about books and
Well, because one of his employees is trying to help this customer, and she's like, "Do you have the
shoe books?
The shoe books?" And he's like,
I'd start with
You
ballet
bet
shoes.
his books.
"Yeah." The dude's like, "Huh?" And
How do you
she's
spell it?
on the bench, and she knows exactly what the dude's talking about, and she lists like 4 books in the series. I would start with this one. It's the easiest one.
Starting
the
with
best.
number 5.
Yeah,
Fubu.
Dan Harmon's top 5 shoe jokes, and she's like crying because she has all this book knowledge, and he's like, "Well, I've just got this corporate asshole that just needed a job for minimum wage to supplement his paper route or whatever people do in New York City. So yeah, and then he kind of sees her. It sees how much she cares, or it humanizes her to a point beyond just like a plot of land.
He sees the consequences of what he's done.
Yeah.
And he sends her he sends her an email back, apologizing for like the cafe, like as his email self apologizing for not being
a no-show, because as far as she knows, email guy ghosted her.
Yeah. So, anyways, I didn't know. I feel like you were talking, and then we both stopped. So, anyways, we kind of come to like a breaking up point for both of our couples, our emailers.
The her version was much nicer because he goes to break up with her. And she's like, I don't love you either.
I don't love you either.
And then they kind of have this endearing and absolutely has never happened in real life moment where they're both like laughing about it. We don't like each other anymore. Ha ha ha. Isn't that funny?
We should be perfect. Yeah, we should be perfect for each other, but it's just not right.
And then
it's just not right.
She asks him, is
ridiculous.
She asks him, is it the lady from the news? And he's like, it is the lady from the news. Do you have somebody? And she goes, nope. Which
he kind of did foreshadow. He's like, there's something there when he was watching himself on the TV.
Yeah. Well, that was broadcast for
There's
sure.
the dream of someone else or something like that.
That was it. And which that was kind of poetic-ish. It made they do that to cover up their crime of having it be an affair movie.
They really gloss over it like it is meaningless to the movie.
Yeah.
They kind of want us to think that Joe Fox's girlfriend is like a mean business lady, which she is, but like she's a boss bitch.
Yeah, they really
higher up. She's a publisher. She's got stuff to deal with. I mean,
she's networking and
yeah, they really spray paint that Banksy over the crumbled walls of infidelity and make everything okay because it's art now.
It's fine. No, it's
fine. Whatever.
So, but they get it.
It's a forgivable crime for a rom-com, a genre where nothing is believable
Nothing's
at all.
believable, and it's fine.
There's no real victims though. Everyone's kind of okay with it.
It is victimless crimes, ish. Well,
we don't know how his girlfriend feels.
How they cover up about it is
he's gonna be fine.
Like, yeah, because we don't get much from the elevator scene. They just know that he ends it, but he ends it because
he gets the ick.
So they get stuck in an elevator, and he gets the ick because they're chilling, and the elevator man, back when they had elevator men, or maybe
who that was?
Yeah, he was his job was to
push
be
buttons.
an elevator guy.
I'm so poor.
Yeah, we're way too poor to have elevator servants. What are they?
I don't like that.
And they get stuck in the elevator, which is my nightmare. And they try jumping, which is my nightmare. We have been stuck in an elevator. It was very hot. Not like sexually, but like it was hot in there. I think Dustin saved us.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Nice.
We'll just give him credit. Thanks, Dustin.
Thanks.
But the elevator guy,
man,
gentle, attendant. Thank God.
Genius.
Button jockey. He has a revelation. If I ever get out of here, I'm going to propose to my lady because I should have done that a long time ago. And here's a picture of her in my wallet and whatever. And then Tom Hanks looks over at his broad and she's like, I can't find my chapstick. And she's like,
where are my Tic Tacs?
Tic Tacs, that's it. And she's throwing a fit. And he's
she's also like, if I ever get out of here, I'm getting my eyes lasered. And he's just like, ugh. That's your priorities in life.
And we literally have like a smash cut from that scene to him walking to his boat with his bags and his dog. And it's
moving out.
What's the boat called? Fox 3?
He's 3. Yeah, he's 3.
He's 3. And then his dad gets kicked out later and moves into Fox 2. And it's like there's generational relationship failures here.
I like when they zoomed out and his boat was bigger.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Fox 1's probably a yacht somewhere in Dubai.
A cruise carnival.
Yeah, it's in the Mediterranean somewhere vibing.
One of my favorite cuts in the movie, though, is when him and his dad are like, they're on the bigger boat. They're on the Fox 2.
Trying to remember all the dads.
Trying to remember all his people he slept with and all the nannies and all the things.
His nannies.
Yeah. So
the dad makes a joke about whether the lady Tom Hanks just broke up with, if he would see anything in her.
Would I like her?
Gold. Would I like her?
Yeah. Dad.
So, and then, he's like, well, this is the easy part, got to go find someone else, just got to get the next one.
That's the easy part to him.
That's the easy part to him. And, Joe's like, oh yeah, it's super easy to find the one person in the whole world that fills your life with joy. And the dad goes, has anyone I've ever been with met that description? And he's like, have you been with anyone that's met that description? And then it
smash cuts right to him knocking on her door.
Right to him, like, because she fills him with joy. She's the person. So he's like, I gotta go get her.
It cuts to a really...
And Stevie Wonder's playing.
And it's a really 90s shot of him walking up the sidewalk towards the camera with this bouquet of flowers, and he's going to her door. And then he just ends up in her place, and she's kind of fine with it, but is also like...
She's really comfortable with him in there.
Delirious on like
sick,
cold medicine or something.
I guess she felt safe enough with him being there to not be like, where's my gun? You know, but like also to be like, get out, but the vase is on the fridge. You know, it was one of those fun things where she's like, please leave, but if you're as long as you're
at
here,
one point she just crawled into bed.
She just kind of accepts
and
it.
He just gets
like,
on the bed with her and is like, whatever. And then that's when they really get amicable.
Yeah. Well, she's like, why'd you come here? And he's just like, I wanted to be your friend.
Yeah, which is cool.
You know? He's like, put you out of business. He's like, he feels bad for what he's done.
He's changing.
He's growing.
Something. And I think it was
He brings her daisies, which is her favorite flower.
But wasn't that a clue? Like she told him a message about. So I thought she was going to figure it out right then.
Yeah, because he literally goes, "You told me."
And
it was one of multiple hints.
I was confused about
we had that
why she didn't get it.
We had the pride.
I figured maybe she was delirious or something.
Was that the Pride and Prejudice thing too?
He learned about the daisies when he goes to her shop.
The first time with the kids.
First time with the kids.
Oh, okay.
Because the hanky.
Yes,
so
the hanky
that
had
was
daisies
not
on it. She
an internet clue. Pride and Prejudice. He does get a little fast and loose with the Pride and Prejudice.
That was where, because it's like, what guy reads Pride and Prejudice? I wouldn't read that shit.
I can't even read the like full version. It's too much.
You get like the abridged, like kids version. That's like 150
That's
pages.
the only version.
It's really big.
I mean, I've watched the movie, but I cannot get through the whole novel.
You didn't like the BBC show?
No, it was also too long.
Too long.
Give me the dramatized version.
I did write much earlier in the plot when she learns his name is Joe Fox at the cocktail party. I was like, all right, so at that point, one of the shoes dropped, right? Like she knows his name, but she doesn't know it's him. So I'm like, there's the other shoe has to drop of them emailing one another. I'm like, there's so many shoes in the air in this movie because it's two stories. Dropping. And then the way that they slot into place like Tetris is just kind of
it's good.
Exhilarating is a terrible word because it's not like a ride.
It is exhilarating.
It's kind of a ride.
I feel like I kept looking at you, and I feel like you were liking it. You were laughing.
I was locked in. It's good.
I was like,
once
it's happening.
Once he realizes who she is, I was constantly just like, okay, when's it gonna happen? Is he gonna drop a hint? How's he gonna say it? Is she gonna find it? Like for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And it is like, it's like after he goes to the apartment, we've got quite a bit. It's like 20 more minutes of movie. I'm like, what the hell are we gonna do for this 20 minutes?
Did kind of make it feel a little drawn out.
They could have trimmed a little bit.
It could have been smash cuts, but instead we get, they're at this market and blah, blah, blah.
No, they need to keep all that. We could have cut the
athlete
Christmas stuff. You know, we could have trimmed that.
The girl singing, cut the other family singing. I wrote, did this need to be 2 hours? No. Because I feel like the most exciting part was that third act, and I kind of wanted that to be more of the movie of him kind of knowing and her not, and kind of planting more seeds.
Even still, you can make this an hour 45.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we didn't need that extra stuff.
Do we need the dad in the boat scene? Not necessarily. Like, it's a good scene. It does add a little bit of flavor.
That you need because that's when he realizes. That's just like, I gotta get my girl.
That's true. But you could have easily gotten that from the elevator scene too.
You're right.
You could have gone right from elevator to her door and saved 10 minutes. But
you're right.
I don't think it.
You're right.
Just because it's unnecessary doesn't mean it wasn't good, which is a point I failed to make when talking about shortening other movies in this show. But I was kind of not pleased that this was 2 hours because she doesn't get off work till 5:30, and The Bachelor night 2 started at 8, and I wanted to play Helldivers, so we had to start at 6. And it was like, all right, shut up, don't care about your day, put the movie on.
Get the movie on.
We're eating Wendy's.
I was starting it as you were finishing.
Yeah. I already talked about how she's anti-corporation, but pro Starbucks.
I love all of their scenes.
I have a scene
coming up
when they're eating. He's eating pretzels and she's eating an apple. Right before they're like, "What are you doing next Saturday?" Think, well, I'll run into you then or whatever. And it's when they're talking. She's talking about the email guy to him because he's just one of the boys now. She's just a pal of hers. And he's talking, kind of trying to be like, well, what if he sucks? Kind of to try to bring her back down to earth a bit.
Right.
Knowing that it's him.
Yeah.
So he needs to temper her expectations for when they eventually,
He's kind of playing chess with himself.
Right. When the millionth shoe of this octopus set of shoes drops, she's prepared. So he goes, maybe he's fat. He's fat. He's a fatty. He's one of those guys that has to be removed from his house by a crane. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
You wouldn't say that nowadays.
No, the last 30 years since this movie have come out have really, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. One of those guys has to be removed from his house by a crane.
Hey, what is this? The Gilbert Grape movie?
And then the movie ends, and we get the final scene. So they're hanging out.
Well, we get the final scene, and then
they're
the movie
hanging
ends.
out, and they're walking back to her place because she has the date with AIM guy at 4 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got to go, and he kind of pulls a dumb guy move that every guy on planet Earth has done, where he's like, what if we were, thoughts? And it's so painful. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, he's
we've all-
planting the seed. He's planting the seed of
But
like,
he's planting the seed as if
we're
it was
it.
him, and she's like, and she bones out because she friend zones him. But that's what's weird is she friend zones him, and I don't know what doesn't quite make 1 + 1 = 2 in my brain. Is that she's like, I gotta go, and put on a different cardigan that's exactly the same as this one, and then go to the park. But as soon as he shows up with the dog, she's like, I always hoped it was you. But what about an hour ago?
well, because she's
Yeah.
conflicted. She's
Right.
conflicted. She doesn't know. She's like, she's got Joe in front of her, and she's like,
Okay, so
He's
it's
But
great.
she knows she
It's-
gets along with this
it's
guy.
the idealist version of this guy that she's never met. That
Yeah,
she's
she
like,
doesn't
wanted the
know-
stars to align for both at once.
yeah.
All right, I don't know. It's very fantastical.
It is very fantastic. But no, as soon as so they meet in the garden, and she's
Well, the
standing
dog.
there.
She realizes it's him because he's calling the dog's name, and she's gonna cry again. And we know the dog's name because she's told him in the
first
emails.
email. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she hears him run up and yell for the dog.
Well, she sees the dog first.
Right. And yeah, like the dog is like in the first and last scene of the movie. It's pretty good. And yeah,
He comes around the corner. He does a little
Jesus Christ.
here I am.
I don't.
Somewhere over the rainbow's playing.
She starts crying.
and he goes,
Listen,
"Don't cry, shop girl."
And my dumbass forgot that Shop Girl was her AIM name. So I thought it was an endearing, pet name he just invented because she had the bookshop. Because I'm
hey,
stupid.
what up, shop girl?
Yeah, but to kind of as a callback to, hey, remember your business I destroyed mercilessly? So I don't know.
Weird time to bring that up.
But now it's Shop Girl, and I'm just thank God that she didn't respond with, oh, it's you, whatever his street name was.
Did we figure out why?
152 or something?
Yeah, did we figure out what 152 meant?
It's
It's
his
his
building,
address.
number.
Number, yeah.
Okay.
It's on the building. We get a couple shots of
Take
it.
it in the piano, man.
Yeah,
Take it
there
in
you
the
go.
I was
piano.
about to say.
That this one's I feel like less egregious.
By the way, I
than
watched
piano.
Casablanca this weekend. So obvious where the ticket goes. Incredible. And
Well,
also,
in hindsight, because you know it's there.
on a second watch, the whole ticket
Yeah,
business
that's why.
way more clear. Like the first 30, 35 minutes of the movie are way more on a second viewing. It's worth a revisit, that Casablanca. But we're not talking about Casablanca. We're talking about this movie. So the Don't Cry Shop Girl. I wanted it to be you. Blah blah blah. And
I
the whole
wanted
time,
it to be you so badly.
whole time I'm thinking, where the hell's this dog? Because the dog's just
chilling.
leashless.
He comes back.
But he comes back. I
well
was like,
trained.
there it is.
Well trained.
What's the dog's name?
Brinkley.
Not, Not Wrigley.
I thought it was Wrigley, and I was like, oh, like the Cubs.
No, we're in New York.
Listen, I'm
You
sorry,
can, You
Danielle.
can be a Chicagoite.
I don't
Chicagoan.
know what I expected or wanted the ending to be, but I was very underwhelmed with the.
I don't know how you can be underwhelmed with
What?
because the
He just kind of goes, "Nope, it's me."
It's me.
No,
and
the
then
cr-
they
the-
kiss
no, the thi-
passionately.
the crescendo is the Don't Cry Shop Girl. That's what was supposed to hit you in the chest.
I guess I wanted more of a jaw drop moment where she was like, "Oh my god, it's him."
Yeah, because they kept teasing it so
I mean,
many
she
times
kind of-
throughout.
she's like-
that's what the tears were, right?
Yeah, she's
Yeah?
like looking
That's
like
fair.
she's making faces at him.
You gotta soften your stone hard
I
hearts,
see what you guys are
I
saying.
guess.
A lot of rom-coms do end, they end at that moment. Like that's it. That's the end of the movie. You know, that's just kind of I think part of the genre. You know.
Yeah, and then and then I saw her face, and I'm a believer.
But-
Plays like at the end of Shrek.
I really love the movie. I just
Really?
the ending was meh.
Is Shrek a rom com?
I think so.
Shrek's kind of a rom-com.
It's a fantasy rom-com.
It's a good movie.
Like an adventure rom-com.
Yeah.
This movie's kind of like Shrek, but if
movie's
emails were
kind
being
of like
if
Shrek.
emails were being an ogre,
Being magical creatures.
yeah,
What does that mean?
the Lord Farquaad is the bookstore. I don't know. So that's the thing. That's the thing is that she's almost got Stockholm syndrome because she's now in love with the man that ruined her life, and we don't get any resolution.
And he still works at the bookstore.
But she's got offers. She's gonna write. She could edit.
but for his
Yeah, but-
ex-girlfriend.
Well, the writing job's not for his ex.
Okay,
But
Oh,
the
'cause-
editing job was, yes.
I don't know, man. It's a little.
She could
that
be a
dog's
consultant
gonna
at
be
Fox Books.
pissed. I put the ball behind the box. All right, the dog figured it out. Dogs are smart, man. Except for this one.
No.
Yeah, that's the movie though.
Yeah.
Does Meg Ryan play this kind of character in all of her movies, or is this
Yes.
like a departure? Okay, so
No.
she's like kind of the Tom Cruise.
Which-
Okay, because like
After this movie, she kind of was like, I need to do something different because this
She had
is
just,
like everything
this
I've
is her
done.
third rom-com with Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
like in a
Yeah.
row.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And I just think she's just adorable and so cute. And her voice is honestly one of the voices of my childhood from all these movies. And she also voiced Anastasia in like an animated version of that, which was a 20th Century Fox movie, animated movie, which
I
is
feel the
excellent.
exact
Century
same.
Fox.
I feel the exact same way about Tom Hanks because
FOX.
the first movie that I latched onto as a kid was Toy Story 1 and 2. So my childhood is like the voice of my childhood was Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. So
We
I
did
feel
not have the same childhood.
I feel very similarly just because like Woody and Buzz were dude. I wanted to be Andy.
Yeah.
I should get Andy tattooed on my foot. Ugh.
Ooh.
Gross.
That would be gross.
that would cool. That'd be
hurt.
cool.
The thickness of those lines would be agony. Can you imagine
No, I don't want to.
like a 24 needle shader in your foot?
Ugh.
I don't really know what that means. I just know that it's
Put it in my
terrible.
jugular and end it instead. Gross.
I just wanted to take a minute because we often will talk about directors, and I just wanted to shout out Nora Ephron as the director.
She did Sleepless in Seattle too.
because
Mother
she
of Zach.
was the patron.
No.
Mother of Zach.
Zac Efron.
I made that
Oh,
up.
Zac Efron. We love him. No, Nora Ephron was like the patron saint of rom-coms. Like Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle. This one, there's several others that I am not as familiar with, but she was a journalist. She was a writer. She wrote novels after this. Yeah.
pivoted.
So like really
Cool.
just shout out to her because we have rom-coms like we do because of her and she's great. All of her movies have this cozy feel,
Yeah,
very
but-
fall.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it work
Harry
now?
Met
I feel like
Sally.
some of
Teeter
it
on
is
Hallmark quality almost.
Yeah.
like an
that kind of
upscale
feel.
Hallmark.
They don't feel cheesy though.
Not cheesy, just like that good feel.
They're very
Yeah.
era specific because you couldn't make this
Yeah.
movie. I feel like some of it is the cameras too.
God, yeah, doing it now would just be on Tinder and it'd be like, wanna fuck?
Yeah, yeah, right. It's-
I was
He's so
I was
bored.
thinking about that because
Yeah.
there's scenes where she's like chatting with him like on.
Yeah.
I called it
Yeah, it's
AIM growing
thoughtful.
up,
Yeah, it's like real people
not
talking.
AIM. AIM.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyways, she's on AIM and like messaging, and then her boyfriend walks in the room. She like
So-
shuts it or whatever. Like today, she'd just be on her phone, just
Instead
typing.
of-
It's not romantic.
Instead
Yeah, and
of-
that's such a broadcast like red flag to slam the laptop when somebody
Yeah.
walks. And it's like, oh hey, like so unassuming.
Instead of check yes or no, it'd be swipe left or right. Dumb.
I think
All right.
part of too why they don't work today is we're too cynical. Rom-coms
yeah.
are fantastical. Like they don't play by the rules. Like you have to suspend your belief about even
All
what
right.
happens after, you know?
But-
You have to believe in love.
So we're too cynical nowadays. We're not having
but by
a
the same token, every movie is a stinking superhero movie.
Yeah, but that's
now.
different.
And that's
That's, over the top
I
and
don't know. I think movie consumers are just stupider than we used to be. And I think some of that is the cynicism, like you're saying, but I think it's made us dumber. And more hesitant to enjoy things.
Sad.
And that's to the point what we talked about a couple weeks ago, the death of like the mid-budget film, the mid-budget blockbuster film. Those don't exist anymore. Everything is Avatar. Everything is Spider-Man. Everything is dumb.
Or straight to streaming.
And some of it's good. Some of it, like Dune, great. The Batman, which we're probably gonna watch next month.
Barbie.
Great.
Yeah.
Barbie, incredible. Kind of similarly silly. I mean, that movie is.
I feel like
We're
we're
having
coming
another kind of boom. Yeah.
I
We're
hope
maybe
so.
coming back.
And I really feel like, and a lot of film critics feel this way too, of like, we can't wait until the superhero movies die. Can this phase just croak? It's been 15 years of this.
And
we're
Marvel's got it planned out for years.
We're entering the 16th year of this.
Ugh.
And it's a lot, man.
Marvel should have stopped with Endgame. That's mine.
I agree.
Maybe not so hot take.
It's not a
you
hot
can't
take.
stop at the top though. You got.
But they're taking the year off, and now
No, that's absolutely when you stop.
and they're almost taking the year off, and now
That's not ever gonna happen though. It's gonna stop.
now Sony's just churning out their bullshit with these writers that have never made a good movie. Who like the Madam Web movie is it's not out yet.
Yeah.
But the critic reviews are out, and it is a trash fire. And it's the same writers as Morbius. How did those people get another job? It's crazy, dude. Sony.
I think they've
what are you
interpreted the mock enjoyment of that
It's
movie
Morbin
into,
time, yeah.
as they thought it was real enjoyment. They're like, we got to do this again. Like,
Well, yeah.
I don't think they
didn't
yeah.
that movie go back to theaters?
It went back to theaters after the Morbin time meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally like this movie's ass. It's considered one of the worst, not just
It's like a
superhero
cult following.
movies ever made, and I think we should watch it for the show.
Probably.
I have a question. Do you have hot points?
I do have hot points.
All right, let's hit it.
All right. Hot points. I did a nice arm wave for those of you who are just listening and not watching. We started as a 5, and we add or subtract based on what I think is hot. So we got a -1 for Tom Hanks's hair. It's not hot. I love you, Tom Hanks. I can relate to the frizz struggles.
The frizz.
So that gets us to a 4.
It's very 90s, though.
It's very
a little
90s.
Poofy
You
hair.
know.
We didn't know what we were doing in the 90s. The
No,
mullet
we
was
didn't
in.
know what creams we needed, wide tooth combs. You know, we needed some help. But
Wide tooth comb, shout out.
we got a +1 for his just general charm. This is so good. His humor, his charm, just all the things. I just love him.
It's Tom
as a
freaking
character.
Hanks,
It's
man.
Tom freaking Hanks. What's not to love
He's
besides
Tom Hanks.
his hair?
He's Tom Hanks and
apparently.
everything, and it's great.
So that brings us back to a 5.
Oh boy.
And then we got another +1 for, of course, the ending moment. His "Don't Cry, Shop Girl," where
yep.
he wipes the tear away.
Is that a 6?
Then that leaves us at a 6.
All right, golf
Which
clap.
Feels
Golf
right.
clap for Tom Hanks. It's a 6.
He's just slightly above average.
He's not a hottie by any
He's
stretch.
not a hottie, but we love him.
There's no Sundance.
He's no
Oh
Sundance.
no, nobody will
He's
ever
no
be.
Heath Ledger. You know?
Right. All right. Well, 6. We get a 6 for
A 6
hot
feels right.
points.
I didn't buy that when he did the credit card thing that she'd be like, okay, and
Yeah,
swipe it.
I
It
agree.
seemed
That was
like,
weird.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
weird.
Nobody would do that. And he wasn't really that nice to her.
It's another scene.
No,
you
he-
just-
He kind of talked down to her.
Yeah, it was like, come on. Like,
Come on.
he said some word that wasn't like swipe. It was a different, like, and I was like, what? That's the word he used. But yeah, it was, I was like, I don't
it's
buy
like
that.
your bit of like calling waiters toots and stuff, like being like your bit of like a
Jersey girls.
1940s.
Thanks, Toots. Yeah.
Yeah.
These bras.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's that, but real.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was interesting that this was like most rom-coms are kind of based on a physical relationship, and this was largely an emotional and like
Yeah. This.
it wasn't a physical relationship. They had this it was all online. It was like
this
not,
movie walked so her could run.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even compare it.
People
to
like her.
They do.
People really like
don't know
her.
what that is.
Okay.
It's
I
that
just-
movie
he
where that
falls
one
in
guy
love
is
with-
like falls in love with basically Siri, the phone AI.
It's a strange movie.
Dan Harmon loved it.
Huh.
Loved it. Thought it was very, very good story.
Siri's so dumb though.
I mean, Siri is super stupid.
Well, this one's voiced by Scarlett Johansson, so
Right.
Oh, okay. See, now it's making sense.
you're back on. Yeah.
Oh boy, we're sexualizing a voice now. Wow.
Should we do him it or miss?
Let's do hit or miss and wrap it up because we got to watch more Project Runway, the greatest show ever made.
Hell yeah.
Should I end? Because you're most interested in my opinion.
I'm curious,
So
yeah.
nobody, well, not nobody, but yours is the most obvious. 'cause
I
you
mean,
picked the movie. So why don't
obviously.
you start?
Well, it's a hit for me.
Clearly.
Obviously.
Carl, I'm really
so
interested
good.
in what you
I am
thought.
too.
There's no
I-
singing in it. Well, very minimal singing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I liked it. I think it's a hit. But I did get, I know this is not the right group to poll, but it reminded me of a 30 Rock skit if they did one for 2 hours. Because it was just like, I could just see them in the writer's room being like, what if we had a big bookstore owner and a small bookstore owner? And like, they peddle old media, but they're going to use new media to talk. And like, they just kept running with it and just like made us, yeah. So it just,
books are like dead.
Yeah,
not really. Books are great.
They kind of made New York feel like a small town. Like you don't really get a big city bustling. Like she's a butterfly on the
whole
subway.
movie could have taken place in a block and a half, essentially.
Yeah. So
I think
it was a hit.
It's
I
all
enjoyed
the
it.
West Village. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yay.
2 hits. We need one more for a banger.
Well, I went into this not wanting to watch it. I came out of it absolutely loving it. It was a hit.
All right.
Nice.
I also thought it was really, really excellent. I'm going to give it a hit as well. That's 4 hits. It's a good movie. This is much better than any other
Certified banger.
rom-com we've
You
watched.
really
This is a
enjoyed
certified
it?
banger that gets an air horn.
I'm so happy you guys don't
Everybody's
even
deaf
understand.
now. That's a good movie. You should have made Ever After better.
Yeah, more like this, less like
I know.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I picked Ever After because this is just better.
I would watch this again. I will never watch Ever After again. That movie pissed me off.
I do wonder if people hate Meg Ryan from New York because they're like, that's not what it's like to be in New York City. Like she's just like smiling at everything,
she's
like
so
nothing seemed to get to
happy.
her. I was like, yeah, she lives in her own little fairy tale world. It seems like
She can afford to live in a gorgeous brownstone
This is a very
apartment.
idyllic, idolized New York.
from that book, from the bookstore.
It's not New York's New York.
man.
It's like that movie could have taken place on Sesame Street. And it
It's
would
like
have
how
been
did
the same.
Taxi Driver in this movie go in the same city? Like it's like that's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Or Seinfeld.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. There you have Hit, Mid, or Miss. There you have You've Got Mail.
You've got mail.
Are you pleased?
Enjoy it. I'm so happy.
Pleased with your
I'm so happy right now.
the reception of your movie?
Yes. I'm so glad you guys thought it was good. I was afraid. I was like, I think they'll like this one because it's got some more like sarcasm.
It's got
and
Tom
humor in
Hanks in
there.
it. It's clever script.
Yeah, it's good writing.
Clever's
Again,
a really good word.
Hey, don't cheat on your girlfriend with a virtual person. Don't do that.
Yeah,
It's
don't
bad.
do that. Unless they're Tom Hanks.
So
and
what
Meg
have we
Ryan.
watched this month, rom-com wise? We watched, what was our first one?
10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh yeah, that's right. And
High
then
Society.
High Society, which is bad. Whoops, my
Oops.
fault.
It's okay.
Now this.
Now
this.
this, and we have one more.
We have
and
one
that
more.
movie is. We'll pull it out of the bucket for the meme, even though there's only one.
There's
in
only
there.
one ticket. When Harry Met Sally.
And you'll just
Bing,
throw
bing,
that,
bing.
and then we'll immediately pick it up because the dog likes
Well,
to eat
she's
the
on my
tickets
lap.
now.
So
Another Meg
this-
Ryan.
Another Meg Ryan, widely considered on many a list the #1 rom-com of all time.
Oh, really?
Directed
that's-
by Rob Reiner. Written by Nora Ephron, who directed this movie.
Nice.
I've seen this one time. I'm curious to go back and watch it again. See how I feel.
Yeah, I know the one scene that everybody knows from this movie.
Carl, was
know
this not
nothing.
your suggestion? This movie?
I think I only knew about 10 Things I Hate About You. I think that was
Oh,
mine.
10 Things is yours.
Yeah.
Mine was High Society. Nick didn't get one.
I made no suggestions.
Danielle
'cause
got
that
2.
would've
Well, yeah,
been
we're not
stupid.
going to watch Bible Man for rom-com month or whatever.
So
What would I have? That's a
what
I
would
don't
you
know
have
what I-
suggested?
no. I don't know.
You've seen Shrek, right?
I know I have.
That's
I
not,
don't remember.
that
He's
doesn't-
not
really.
You're
confident.
gonna have to watch Shrek. All right, so
I'm
We should.
curious how this one's gonna go because when Harry Met Sally is very much about like the dynamics between like male and female. Can they be friends? Like
you mean how that's gonna go with us
Like
as an
how we'll-
audience,
yeah.
or how that's gonna go
Oh.
through a 2024 lens, or both?
both?
Okay,
I meant as with us, like me versus you guys, if we'll have different.
because we do have an
Feelings
interesting
about it.
blend of female married man and 2 singles. So ready
I'm
to mingle.
I'm curious to see. Slide into the DMs.
Well, there you go. If you would like to date Nick or Carl, email us at thebiggroompod@gmail.com. We're going to watch When
Oh my
Harry
God,
Met
you gave out the
Sally.
real email.
Yeah, please email us.
Nobody else is.
Also email us with
We'll do a
anything,
spinoff of a date show or something.
anything you want. I'd love to read an email. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Join our Discord, for God's sakes. We're in there talking about Star Wars all the time.
All the time.
We're going to watch When Harry Met Sally and thankfully and finally plunge a knife into the heart of what has been rom-com month before we kick off March with Dune, Part 2. Our first
Ayo.
theater movie of the year, first release. We're getting on top of some releases. So
I'm
March,
excited to see that in theaters.
March won't really have a theme. We're going to watch some blockbusters we missed from the past couple of years. We're going to watch Dune. Maybe some others. We'll leave them as a surprise. But
We'll see.
hey, this, now you know the next 2 movies we're watching, LOL. And yeah, When Harry Met Sally.
Yep.
Happy Valentine's Day. Although it's been a week since that for you guys, but it's Valentine's Day for us, so screw you. And we'll catch you in the next one.